We're back again
Hello
with
everyone,
Dr.
welcome back
Evie,
to the
filling in
Croneo
on
region.
used
This
type
is the series where I
combos.
explain what would happen
Part
in a
1.
hypothetical
There is
Pokemon
no part
game
2.
where
Well,
Pokemon
technically he
hate
does do
Pokemon
more
City.
unused
Games which don't
types,
actually
but he doesn't
exist,
call
but
it
if they
part
did,
2.
would be based on my
So
ideas
I
of
just
what a
remove
Scottish
that
themed
part when I
region
make
with
my
bits of
thing go
Canada in
live.
it would look like. When filling out my decks, I decided to do what a lot of Fakemon creators tend to do. And that's the fun challenge of trying to come up with a Pokemon for every unused type combination. And in this
Just
video,
make everything
we're going
water
through
type.
half.
That's what Gen 4 did.
There's a lot of Fakemon to cover. Although half of these unused type combinations will have brand new evolutionary lines attached to them, and the other half being attached to regional variants, both
And let's
parts
be
of these
real,
duology
most of them will
have
be
a mix of
fairy
both.
type because
It took a
fairy is the
while
new
and a
type.
load of revisions for my decks, but now
Even
I'm
though
100%
Gen
satisfied
6 was
with
about 10
most
years
of my
ago.
decks.
Where does the time go?
I'm ready to show you these. Also, some type combinations that haven't been used by Game Freak I'm using multiple times. As will be
That's
evident
fine.
by the fact that there's another fairy fighting Pokemon in this video. Despite the fact that
Oh, no.
Priorate is already that type combination. Also, since
It's
this video
whatever.
is going out before the release
There's
of
more than one
Pokemon Scarlet and
firefighting
Violet,
type, and the fan base is a meltdown when
since
that
it's being recorded
happens.
before any Pokemon have been announced that may or may not have this type combination, these two videos will contain type combinations which haven't been used as of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Funny story, I've been planning this region since 2020, and back then we didn't have a ghost normal type, and now we do. But I had planned one even before we found out about Hisuian Zoro and Zoroark, even before we found out about Pokemon Legends Arceus. Since this type combination now has been used, I'm not going to be covering
A
it
ghost
in this
normal
video.
sounds
One more thing before I
contradictory in
begin.
terms. Then again, so does fire water,
use
so meh.
more rare type combinations that have only been used by alternate battle forms such as Megas or the different Rotom forms or whatever.
Can you
as
use
well as
fire type
legendaries,
attacks on
but
Zoroark?
those aren't
It's
unused.
normal,
They
so
have
it
been
wouldn't be
used,
hit,
but
but it's
are
also
just
ghost, so
rarer.
it can't
So
be
they'll
hit.
be covered in relevant videos for
I'm
those
just
Pokemon,
asking.
and not here. As evident by the fact that I have a Fire Steel Pokemon as one of my starters, even though the only previous Fire Steel mon was Heatran, but I'm not covering it in this video. I'm not covering it in either of these videos. I'm just stating
I just imagined a Steelix on
anyone's
fire.
Like, ooh, you should
It was
put an
an
electric
actually
ice
pretty
on or
tubular
something
image.
Like that. Well, electric fire is
Even though
an
it was just
example,
Steelix
darn it.
but red.
So, as of Gen 8, there have been 16
people love the
unused
Crystallonics.
type combinations. In this video, I'll be
16.
covering 8 of them. 4 of said type
Just how many types
combinations will
there
be
are.
brand new, 4 of them will be regional variants. Starting off, we have the regional bug. It'll represent the bug dark type.
Contractually obligated.
I'm genuinely surprised hasn't been done before. However, like some other Fakemon in this video, 1 or 2 stages
You'd
may
think
not
like
actually
Ariados
have
would
this
be
type
bug
combination.
dark, no,
Heck, the
bug
first
poison.
2 stages of this line aren't bug dark. But anyways, let's get into it. Meet Tattypillar. This line was done by Ryoma Art, who also did the Buttercup line, which is my Grass Starry line. The name Tattypillar comes from tatty, which is a Scots word which means potato, and caterpillar. Potato caterpillars are a thing, and that made me think of a chip. Or a French fry if you're more...
It's a French fry caterpillar. Okay, I
imagined
like
one
it.
wriggling around like a caterpillar, so I decided to go down the pun route.
Where's the
as
milkshake
opposed to the
Pokemon?
literal animal route. Potatoes are a big thing in Scotland, actually. Not as big as they are in Ireland, of course, but there's a
I would
couple
associate
of
them more with
lunchtime
Ireland.
meals called neeps and tatties, which is essentially mashed turnips and mashed potatoes. Yeah, we don't just eat haggis, you know. There hasn't
I don't
been a
believe you.
potato-themed Pokemon either. And making a potato caterpillar did kind of fit in with that. But I wanted this line to also have the Scottish theming. And making a potato caterpillar did kind of fit with what I wanted from this line. But also the Scottish themed setting. Also, it's cute as heck. The pupa stage is called Crispillus, which I must thank
I agree with
Robert
that.
for the name as well.
It looks like a
freaking
freaking a pack of fries that you get at a fast food thing. You know, like the thing they keep the
which is what we call
fries in.
potato chips over here, and chrysalis, which is what the people stage of bugs surround themselves with. Yeah, there's nothing much to mention here. It's shaped like a potato, and
It is shaped
wrapped
like a
itself
potato.
in
That,
crisp
I'm just saying when I
potato
think it of.
chips. The antennae are chips/french fries too, as they were.
They
in the
already
first
were.
stage. Now, Crispillus evolves using a new method called the special rod. Okay,
Special
I have
rod,
to explain
okay.
this. It's not the region's gimmick. just a new evolution method that also has battle uses. It's a held
Okay.
item which stores the typing of any special attack that comes the Pokemon holding the special rod's way, regardless of immunity. Although if the attack misses, then I don't think it should store it. So if Bubble Beam was used against a Pokemon, then the special rod would store a water
once
charge.
or trigger
if
a
Hex was used against
Pokemon
a neural type that had the
evolve.
special rod,
So you can use it
then a
one
ghost
time,
charge would be
or
held.
it'll trigger an
This
evolution.
type charge is stored after that, and can be used outside of battle.
So I can charge
Any special attack used while there is a charge would still
or
hit as
trigger an
normal.
evolution.
The
It's the end of the
charge
full
is
thing.
lost when the attack that the special rod is mapped to, which will now be the stored type, is used. So if the Flamethrower was like the 3rd slot or something, and the special rod held a water charge, Flamethrower would become a water type move. A charge could also trigger an evolution, which would also lose the charge.
This is gonna fuck you up in more ways than one.
Crystallis, for example,
Look, I'll screw you over. You, Infernate, use
Special Rod
Flamethrower on Scizor! Oh, wait.
Into Jackaterror. Riom helped move the name.
Nice
too.
name, looks
However,
like a
I took
potato
the
sack
suggestion
too,
and
which I
tweaked it
like.
slightly. His suggestion combined Jacket with Lepidoptera, the order of insects that moths are a part of. I decided to add
like
the word
it.
terror in the name since it's a dark
Because
now.
spooky.
The jacket part contains
Electronics.
the word Jack, which is also a name. This Pokemon also very loosely references Spring-Keeled Jack, who is an entity part of British folklore during the 19th century, mainly in suburban London, the English
They had more than
Midlands,
Jack the
and,
Ripper?
more importantly, Scotland. Jack appeared human but acted more than human, being able to jump great heights while terrorizing
It
the
was like a
public.
fabulous
Also,
bat.
at a closer look, had a more demonic physique, as well as a gothic sense of style, as well as red eyes.
I could totally see this
If it
being
reminds you of
horrifying back in the
Mothman,
day, but if we look at it now, it's like
eclectic
he's just a
from West
cosplayer.
Virginia,
What's the fear?
That's why I decided to also give off Mothman vibes, with those red eyes, cloak, and dark typing referencing both. So yes, it's a moth. In its lore, that you can find on the Croneo region's Instagram account, we know that other moth Pokemon are attracted to light, but Jackaterror is attracted to the absence of light, darkness, and shadows, which is why it's dark.
Great.
But also, it's not very nice. Since
So when it's
it's
around the
closed,
region, you
which
could
ties
actually put
into its
more
design.
lights on going to
Potato
sleep.
moths are a thing. Not as much in Scotland, but remember, this is more of a reference to potatoes, and I wanted a moth, and it's sort of a pun. Jacket potatoes,
It works.
which is where the jacket part of its name comes from, as well as Spring-Keeled Jack, are also a thing. Jackets are a type of clothing. And
I'm
moths
wearing one
are
right
known
now.
to eat
Typically a hoodie,
clothing
but
and leave holes
same
in it.
idea.
So, although there's not really a scientific way for it to continue to fly, it has holes in its jacket potato-like wings.
Following
Its
bee
wings
logic, we
also
do it
blend in with
anyway.
its hood, which makes it look a bit like a gangster, and jackets also tend to have hoods. Not all of them
It
do
starts
quite
doing the
cute. I
Guzma
love
watch
this design,
and
I
with
hope
Team
you guys
Skull.
do too.
Yo,
Also,
yo, yo,
the
yo.
shinies of this whole line are based on sweet potatoes. Hence
That's
the orange.
amazing. I
And
love
the
that.
Pokemon Jackaterror references Japanese
I also
sweet
love the
potatoes.
freaking
So for normal
at
poison,
Pokemon
you need to
conventions
go
when
for a
someone
playground, which
with
is
a
funny
group
in
of
an
people
ironic
dressed as
sense,
Team Skull,
because
they'll
every
walk
time
around
I
doing the
commissioned
yo
this
yo
line,
yo.
I caught
There's
COVID.
videos,
And since
it's
there's already
hysterical.
a rat Pokemon, what better than to introduce Croneo?
There's an electric rat Pokemon too.
A variant of what is likely the first regional variant players encountered. Rattata!
That's right,
This whole line was
Patrat.
done by Dalera region on Instagram,
Nice.
by the way. It is just sick for the moment. The brown coloration is because I felt like swapping Rattata and Raticate's regular colours and shiny worked for the design concept. And the
It
skull on its
does.
head
I
is
like it.
foreshadowing where this line is going. Cronian Raticate is now dying,
Ugh.
with off-coloured spots and weird
I
growths.
gave it
The plague
cancer.
is worsening. But hey, the swapped colours work better for this design, since the base colours are purple, which are the poison colours, and the shiny is green, which is now sort of a secondary colour for the poison type. Yes, the plague aspect
for
is
me.
poison, but I must reiterate, it's still a normal rat. It just so happens to have
Good
the
inspiration
plague
going
and has
off of the
poison
Black
typing
Plague.
as a result. Heck, Alolan Rattata and Raticate are normal type too, as well as dark, so I don't see what's wrong with normal poison. But anyways,
I don't
Raticate
either.
evolves now. It evolves into
What?
Ratikin. The name comes from rat, obviously, stylized similarly to Raticate. Kin, due to the fact that there's now seemingly multiple
kindred
entities,
spirit.
and it sounds like Rat King, which Ratikin is actually based on. Now you may be
Alright,
thinking
I'm down
normal
with this.
ghost,
This is cool.
ghost poison? No, it's still normal poison. It's zombie-like corpses doing the fighting. So although the spirit is controlling the body, it would have the defenses of a normal poison type. Although Ratican would have a new ability, Spectre, which allows it to use Ghost-type Stab, so the design having the tails connected is an obvious reference to Rat Kings, and both the body and spirit having crowns, as well as fur on the body resembling a cloak, is a visual pun on the name, and also gives off pantomime vibes considering the Rat King is the villain of some pantomimes. As for the corpse and spirit, this is showcasing the fact that the plague has killed this rat, but the spirit has unfinished business.
Lived on.
As for the ribs, I felt like this design needed something extra to differentiate it from Raticate, especially since both Ratican and Raticate both share the same colours and shinies. This design is so sick. It
is. It's really good design. I love how it
So
worked
the next
out.
brand new Pokemon line I have to offer you is Electric Fighting. Funnily
Bad
enough,
news,
Fighting
mate.
is the
Guess what
only
came out in
type
Gen
currently
8?
Available that hasn't been paired with Electric. Since we have a guaranteed Electric type in each
But then again, he
region
said
in the form
before
of
Legends
Pikachu clone,
Arceus.
why not? Meet Nezumaruto. I commissioned the legendary Dark and Windy for this. The name comes from Nezumi, which means mouse. However,
no, wait, no,
its
sorry,
name
they're
comes
Gen
from
9,
Nezumi,
not
which
8.
means
I had a
vole, because
Mandela effect or
Nezumaruto
something.
is a vole. The name also comes from Boruto.
Also, it's the
which means
Pika
vault.
clone because it's
I came up
contractually
with the
obligated.
name as a pun because vole and volt
If you
sound
make a
similar, but
Pokemon
because
fan
all
region
Pika
and don't
clones'
include a
names are
Pikachu, you go to
Japanese,
jail.
I
That's
decided
the
to
law.
try and fuse the root words translated into Japanese.
Sorry.
And I think it works. It's electric type because it's a Pikachu clone. They all are. And no, I don't count Mimikyu or Marill as Pika clones because Mimikyu's concept isn't tied to Pikachu directly, and is just as much a Pika clone as Cramorant is in my opinion. And Marill looks nothing like Pikachu, although
But it's
Nezumaruto
Pika-Blue!
Shiny is a reference to the whole Pika-Blue.
And the Pikachu clone we got in Gen 2 was Pichu.
Nezumaruto
The
was
pre-evolution.
fighting type.
So it's like, we're
non-electric.
kind of scratching
So why is
the
it here?
definition
Well,
of
if you give it an
clone.
Aura Stone,
That's what I count
Nezumaruto
Elekid.
evolves.
Meh.
Before I get into its evolution, what kind of vole is it based on? Answer: the common vole. Nothing special about it. However, there is one particular kind of common vole that loosely inspired its evolution. Meet Nezuken. The name comes from Nezumi and Hatanezumi, like
Nice.
before,
I like how it's using
as
its
well
tail
as
as a
Ken,
sword.
which is a Japanese word for sword. Firstly, there's a lot of
I also
words
got
for
the
sword in
acorn
Japanese,
shield, that's
and
nice.
secondly, you may think Ken means fist, and you'd be right. They are spelt with different kanji though, but both are pronounced Ken. Anyways, I mentioned that there's a particular kind
So
of
what we're saying
common
is
vole
he's
Nezuken
just
is
Ken.
based on.
Anything else
The
he'd be a
particular vole is
10.
known as the Orkney vole. Yup, we have a Highlander Pokemon. The Orkney vole is a group of the common vole found in the Orkney Islands, but they're not found in mainland Scotland, but Orkney is a part of Scotland, so it counts. Plus,
Good
other
enough.
voles are found here, so it still works. The Orkney vole are about 10% larger than most common vole, and it's a mystery as to why they're only specifically in Orkney. The accepted theory is that they were just brought to Orkney, and we know it had to be at least 4,600 years ago, since that's when the earliest fossil is dated. So the reason it's fighting type is just that I wanted to use the type combo. But voles can be ruthless, so that could justify it. But as I'm sure you're able to spot, it uses its tail as a sword and an acorn as a shield. Did you know that fencing is the most popular martial art in Scotland? Or at least has been historically. I didn't even know it was classed as a martial art before researching this. The specific
That's
kind
an interesting
sword
piece
this
of
is meant to
lore
reference is
and
the
history in
broadsword,
general.
and the shield is meant to be a targ, which is
Kind
a
of like,
shield
I guess,
with a
sort of
spike
like
at the
the
center,
equivalent
and
of
oh, look,
sumo
the stem of
wrestling
the
for
acorn is
Japan.
like a spike. Some kinds of vole eat acorns. I'm not sure if all do. I just saw an image of a vole with some acorns, and I got inspired. Also, the reds and oranges
that's all you
in
need
both their
sometimes.
designs are
And
meant
it's
to
an
signify
adorable
their
image.
secondary typing, just like how Todegamaru has grey on it, and how Morpeko has very dark grey on it. And the blue shinies are also meant to represent the colours of the Scottish flag, and Nezuken's pose gives me a Scotland forever sort of vibe.
I'm
or
Scottish!
Braveheart style. I'm so proud of how this design turned out. So, my second ever regional variant line I'm going to show off also had one before. It doesn't help that it was also a regional rodent. Meet Cronian Zigzagoon and Cronian Linoon. The art for the whole line
It looks
was done
like
by
the
Pokemachi on
Galarian
Instagram,
versions, but
and they turned out
depressed.
so well. They are normal steel type because they're
But they
still
work
the
well
regular
enough.
mammal, but they're wearing scrap metal as a sort of armor, so they are steel type.
Alright.
When trying to come up with ideas for a normal steel type, I felt that Zigzagoon's fur pattern reminded me of scrap metal. That's the only reason this design idea happened. Also, the Galarian Zigzagoon line is one of my favourite Pokemon lines, so I guess I'm biased.
It's awesome.
By the way,
I love
their
it.
shinies are based on rusted metal.
I'm a little iffy about Obstagoon just because I'm iffy about giving evolutions to Pokemon that already existed for a long time.
Friends.
It's like, okay, so especially when they're in a regional variant.
Which are still the originals, by the way.
Then it's like, okay, where's Hoenn and Obstagoon?
Live on the streets and scrapyards. Unfortunately, Scotland does have a homelessness problem, and it has been here for a while. Luckily, you could become its friend and give it a home with you. Who knows?
I thought I was going to say hugs, which steel types.
Yes. If you level up Linoon at the scrapyard location, which you can access after 4 gym badges, it will evolve into Scrapoon. It's still normal steel type for similar reasons to Croneo Zigzagoon and Croneo Linoon. Its name comes from Scrap and Raccoon, since all 3 Pokemon in this evolutionary family that we know about so far are also named after raccoons. So Scrapoon follows suit. By the way, Zigzagoon and Linoon aren't based on raccoons, but raccoon dogs. Their Galarian counterparts are based on badgers, and the Croneo versions are now raccoons, because I say so. Did you know raccoons are one of the top 50 non-native invasive species in Scotland? Neither did I until I researched it for this design. It is now a scavenger, determined to find precious items thrown away by humans.
Leave our garbage alone.
The shiny is also based on rust.
I was gonna clean up
the metals changed colour, I want the rust on the specific items that were already rusty to be changed to look like oxidized copper, which is turquoise.
That's a nice idea. I like that take on it a lot.
Turquoise to reference this.
It's rusted and become even more rusted.
It's Scrappy as its hidden ability.
Oxidization.
Now, if you're like me and really like the Galarian
also, Scrappy makes sense.
You'd probably miss Obstagoon. But don't worry, I decided to make a regional variant for it too. You can't stop me. Croneo Linoon also has to reach level 4.
He's got a washing machine on his chest.
Like their Galarian counterparts to evolve.
Freaking laundry dragon.
Which is now Dark Steel type. My pitch to the artist was a regional Obstagoon of the same style as the others. Make it Dark Steel and also make it angry, as not only do I think that fits Obstagoon's original punk rocker inspiration, but also is in line with the personality development of the Croneo Zigzagoon line, starting out as sad because no one likes them, only for that sadness to develop into rage. What the artist did which I love, was have the rusty old scrap washing machine as armor, which fits in with the theme. It's the right level of subtle / obvious,
it looks
and
great.
thematically contrasts with Obstagoon's
so dumb, it's great.
Since I find it quite comical compared to the anger. I honestly feel like this comical contrast with more serious themes in Pokemon really helps sell the monster that you can be friends with angle that a lot of Pokemon have. And it's a good way to balance out dark type designs, which can lean heavy into the typing, or other Pokemon based on other series topics. Ignore how ghost types are the exception, please. I love how not only Croneo and Obstagoon, but the whole line turned out. Fire is the only type grass hasn't been paired with yet. And there seems to be a trope in Pokemon for little guys turning into very feminine designs. There are either 2 or 3 stages, but mostly grass type. Not always, but you can't tell me that Roserade, Lilligant, Whimsicott, Tsarina, Eldegoss, and Lilligant again make up the vast majority of these kinds of Pokemon. Since some people can't behave themselves surrounding these Pokemon, why don't I make these supposedly hot creatures and make it literal? But how do you combine these elements? A burning bush or tree? Nah, but I'll keep that in mind.
Moses, move the bike.
I was going to do that, but I felt it didn't make too much sense for my region. It's also fairly obvious, and there was a lot of speculation about it recently with Fuecoco, and I'm not against the idea, but I want to do something different. But after a lot of revisions to my decks, I now have 2 2-stage lines. Let's see what the artist I commissioned, KaiFakeMons R on Instagram, cooked up for me. Meet Wheelass and Janeep, both mono grass type and 100% female. For Wheelass, the name comes from wheat, since that's the crop it's based on, lass, since it's female, and the phrase wee lass, which is Scots for little girl, which is what it is. Side note, this is probably the best name I've come up with. Meanwhile, Janeep comes from neep, which is Scots for turnip, and the fact that it begins with J is more referencing jack-o'-lanterns, which I'll get into more when it evolves.
These are creative names, I like these. These are good.
They're just little guys, or little girls.
Gals.
You know what I mean. They're the Budgews, Petalils, and Smolives of the region. But once you give them the Firestone, you get their evolved forms. Let's
This
start
ought to be
by
good.
evolving Wheelass into Bunty.
Oh, hello.
The name comes from bun, a type of bread.
Became a
Bonnie,
Mega Man.
Scots for happy, since it's now a bonny lass. And
Or
Bounty,
Mighty number
since it's now a
9.
bounty hunter. Yeah, I did have inspiration from Samus Aran from the Metroid series.
Can't blame
but
you.
she's amazing. Also, Bunty is now bread. Why is this? Well, there are many kinds of bread found in Scotland
I
that
said
are
so.
very unique here, such as plain bread, baps, which I know are British as a whole but originated in Scotland, butteries, and bannock.
I mean,
I also
bread
felt
comes
that
from
making
plants.
a bread Pokemon, not only does it feel Scottish to me, but there also hasn't been one yet. As for Grass Fire, as its type, you make breadfruit dough with natural ingredients, mainly from plants, and you bake it with heat. That doesn't necessarily mean
It works
has the
out
heat
well.
anymore, but it does. As you can see, it shoots fire out of its toasty arm cannons.
And it looks
Janice
awesome.
evolves into Lanturnip,
Oh,
which
hello.
is lantern and turnip. Did you know that before pumpkins were used as jack-o'-lanterns, people tended to use turnips due to their
Cheaper.
accessibility? That's what this Pokemon references, with the fire type representing the internal flames used in jack-o'-lanterns. But why
Okay,
go with
interesting
this
stuff
talk?
going on
Well,
here. I
when
like
I
this
was
a
discussing
lot.
Tattypillar, I mentioned that a popular Scottish side dish is neeps and tatties, and I felt like I couldn't have one without the other. The Tatty
Well, we got the
line
tatties,
are
here's the
tatties,
neeps.
and now the Janeep line are the neeps. Now, I did
Nice.
consider making this a regional variant of the Pumpkaboo line, and the fact that they were pumpkins didn't stop me, since the word sand didn't stop the Alolan Sandshrew line. I just felt like it would have been better to have it as its own separate design, if possibly related, as
Be
that
its own
meant I
little
was less
thing.
limited
Nice.
in designing it. Like how she's got a hood cloak thing. To me, this evokes something
The
akin
Red
to
Riding
the
Hood.
Red Riding
Nice.
Hood, which fits, since I asked Kai to give it fairy tale vibes. In case you haven't noticed, there's more going on here. I wanted to push an agenda
I like this
that
design a
holds
lot. I'd
the
probably go
focus
with the
of making
Mega
weirdly
Man
feminine
or
designs.
Samus one,
Women
though,
don't have to
personally.
be stereotypically feminine creatures. They can be more masculine, like Bunty, and they don't have to be conventionally attractive, which is why I had a sort of ugly stepsister.
Won't stop the
Lanternip.
fan
I find
artists
this to be
anyway.
good. Not everything has
Doesn't
to be
matter
like
how
Rosa
you
Ray
design your
Dragon,
Pokemon,
Rosalina.
they'll be
They
prawn
also
of it.
represent two parental archetypes. The breadwinner, which is the money earner of the family, typically the only one, which is also stereotypically masculine. Bounty hunters earn a lot, tend to go life solo.
Yeah, we
and
don't
even
really
seen
have
as a masculine
breadwinners
role to the
nowadays,
point
unless
that
your
Samus
freaking
being
job
revealed
pays
as a
6
woman was a major
figures.
twist in the first Metroid game. Bunty is all of this represented in a
There you
Pokemon,
go.
and it
That's
is
the time
made
and the
out of
place.
bread, so it's a pun. Meanwhile, Lanturnip's more of
Good
a
way of going at it, too.
stay-at-home sort of deal. I mean, you leave jack-o'-lanterns outside your house. It's an old-fashioned
Makes sense in
and
theme,
nowadays
too. I like that
sexist
approach of it.
acceptation
Nice,
a woman's
nice.
role in society. As a result of this duality, they're version exclusive. Since Pokemon Agate symbolizes the past, Lanturnip is exclusive to that game, while Bunty is exclusive to Pokemon Obsidian due to it symbolizing the future. This also works
And
due
women
to the
being able to be
respective fairy
breadwinners
tale
too.
and sci-fi
Yep.
inspirations of both also representing the past and future.
Makes sense, I
Also,
see it,
the
it makes
Bastion
sense.
leader, Fig,
Funny
will
how
have a
he
member
kind
of
of
either of
predicted
these lines
Gen
as their
9 though,
ace.
with the whole
Which
past
line
and
it will be
future
will
gimmick.
depend on the version. It'll be the opposite one to the obtainable one in that game. Oh, and the shinies are based on flour, whole wheat bread, different kinds of turnips, and the colour of mashed neeps. But yeah, I love these lasses. So, I know Pryterate is also fairy
I do
fighting,
too,
but
they're
I
awesome.
wanted this type for a Pokemon that isn't legendary. This one's another regional
I
variant.
was kidding when I said
Doesn't start out as
Prytrate
this type
earlier.
combination. The third regional variant
How come my
is yet
serious
another
guesses
regional
are always
rodent,
wrong,
that
but if I
being
make a
Patrat
joke
variant.
guess, it's
I did kind of
100%.
go overboard with that, admittedly. I'm even planning a fourth, but it's not going to be in this video.
Be doof.
Or another video for a while. I got Teal Drum on Instagram.
I know
to
this
do
one
all
goes
of
for a
this line,
cop
by the way.
aesthetic.
Croneo Patrat is based on a trainee police officer and is fighting type. Scotland was actually one of the first countries to adopt a police force as we know it today. As was Canada.
Really?
The reason why I want a police
Interesting.
Pokemon is for multiple reasons. Officer Jenny should get a new Pokemon that isn't just Growlithe, and the
Yeah,
police
agreed.
do play a larger role in the story. More on that when I cover the plot, eventually.
Alright.
At level 20,
No problems
much like
there.
its Unova counterpart, Croneo Patrat evolves into Croneo Machog. It's no longer a trainee and ready to enforce the law
Gabaton.
using its bat tail.
Or gun
It even
and
looks more
tail
like a
thing.
police officer with its hat-like head and patterns on its torso resembling a uniform. Similar to how Unovan Watchdogs appears to be a safety vest.
Safety
Croneo
vest,
Watchog
yeah.
is also mono-fighting as well, and that is because it's not quite fully formed into what it will become. Much like Croneo and
Another
Linoon,
evolution.
there is a split evolution, but unlike Croneo and Linoon, this split is two forms of the same Pokemon, like Meowstic or Lycanroc. But instead of the method being tied to gender or the time of day, I'm basing it on which evolutionary stone it uses. No new one this time, since it's a new form that's evolving. So I have access to all the established ones. Meet
Okay.
Marriott. The name comes from
Kinda
meerkat
looks
and
like
riot.
Lucario.
Also, I think
Not in a
pronouncing
bad
it
way,
as
though.
Myriot, Myriot, or anything like that is okay. It should be
Myriot.
Myriot, but I find Myriot easier to say. Anyways, the
enough.
form of Myriot you can see on screen right now is called the Sheriff form. It's fighting dark and is obtained by giving Croneo Watchog a shiny stone, referencing the thematic shiny new badge it got. Since it has a promotion, it's based on police officers that are sent to deal with protesters. This one's a political commentary Pokemon. It exists to tie into the story of Agate and Obsidian. If you're not comfortable with the ACAB angle, I have two things to say. The first is that the Sheriff form and most of the Croneo police force are meant to represent the corrupt side of the police, something that I think most of us can agree upon as being bad. But the second thing I have to say is that the other evolution, although not directly being based on this, can be seen as a good cop.
I also don't really want to get into that whole debate. This is Pokemon, let's not talk about that.
It is obtained by giving Croneo Watchog a Dawnstone, because it's dawned on the Pokemon that what it believed was right has been corrupted, and is joining the fight, as in the protests, to stop corruption throughout. There is a clear stat that
the irony
too as well, because Sheriff form Myriot was honing its combat skills, its attack stats were higher than its defenses, and because Protester form Myriot is using its honed skills to defend the rights of it and its allies, this is the other way around. So yeah, that's Croneo Patchrat, Croneo Watchog, and Myriot. Normal
well,
ice
they're
snaps,
certainly
and I
nice,
thought the
unique
obvious choice
designs.
was to
I
go for a
like
Husky,
that part
which
of them.
could double as this region's dog Pokemon.
They're
Sure,
nice
Huskies
Pokemon.
aren't
They're
really
nice
a
Pokemon.
Scottish thing. However, this region's also based on Canada. Plus, there will be some stuff in this overall design that will tie more into Scotland. So, without further ado, meet Pupski! It's so cute!
Aw, it's
I commissioned
adorable.
Cosmic Fakemon on Instagram for this line, by the way, and the name comes from Pup, Husky, and Ski. That last part makes it sound more Eastern European, which will make sense later, even though it makes it sound Slavic as opposed to Scandinavian. Anyway, the ski part also references a recreational activity it likes to do, skiing. It's Ice Paws
Ice Paws to do
Skiing
that.
isn't particularly a Scottish or Canadian thing. Sure, it's fairly popular to do in Canada, but breathing is fairly popular to do there too.
Yeah, right.
So I don't think it's a strong enough link.
Swimming is very
Remember how I said
popular in the
there's
Bahamas. Doesn't mean you
Scandinavian
have to be
influences
there to do
earlier?
it.
Well, skiing evolved from a Scandinavian practice. Sources debate if it was practiced in China first, however, so that could be wrong. But there's still a connection to the overall theme, but it's essentially just a normal puppy, so normal type. It also lives in icy conditions and has a few ice powers and properties, so also ice type. Pupski evolves into Glacier. Name comes from Glacier,
I really
Racer,
like that
and
design. I
Fenrir.
like how
the
the
legs are now
legs are
completely made out of ice, because
solid
it's
ice.
like a bobsled, or I guess just a sled, since Huskies are known for pulling sleds. That's also why there's rope tied onto its torso. The rope is made of ice magic. But that's not the sole reason the rope's there. It's also based on Fenrir, a wolf in Norse mythology who was also a son of Loki. In fact, Fenrir was actually foretold to kill Odin during Ragnarok. The ropes are meant to reference Fenrir's imprisonment. But anyways, this is more of a loose connection for this Fakemon. Wolves used to be found in Scotland and may be reintroduced. Also, this Fakemon isn't literally or primarily based on Fenrir. It's still just a wolf with ice powers. Also, I really like the shiny. Both it
Bit
and
of a
Pupski
rock rough
shinies
color
are
scheme,
based
but it's
on
adorable.
brown huskies and wolves. One last thing, Glacier is the first Pokemon to have this new ability, Shock Absorb. Much like many other abilities before it, it grants the Pokemon immunity to a type of move. In this case, it's fighting. I've got a few Pokemon with this ability. Most of them have a 4x weakness to fighting. Normal Ice as a type combination doesn't give it any defensive favors.
It's screwed with freaking fighting types.
Steel has a 4x weakness, but Steel is such a good type anyways, so that's why I didn't give the Croneo Zigzagoon line this ability. But yeah, I hope you enjoy these good boys. So with this last
They are good boys, I agree.
I wanted to make one of the least popular Pokemon designs, one that even I don't like, into something that I would like.
I kind of forgot this Pokemon existed. Crabominable.
Now don't get me wrong. Crabominable has a very interesting design concept that I actually love.
He's not the worst Pokemon ever made. He's kind of funny.
Cool.
It's just
too bad it looks like, well,
that.
I want to tone down the ugly factor to a degree.
I kind of like the idea of the Yeti crab. It's just that's the final payoff.
Time to Croneo. Brown crab is a
also the friggin' Pokemon company just fake marketed its pre-evolution, acting like it was going to be some big meta contender, and then came out it was shit.
In Scotland, and
at least mid at the very least, but still nowhere near what they promised.
Yeah, it isn't much of a looker either, but I like it. It's a little ugly.
It reminds me of really big man from Rocko's Modern Life,
which is the sort of balance an uglier Pokemon should have. I commissioned Pokejamon.
I like how it's super buff though. That's fun.
Funnily enough, it was the first mon in this video that I got commissioned. He actually likes Crabominable's
Really?
ugliness,
It came first.
so I think
Nice.
this was a perfect collaboration where we could change the aspects of its design I don't like, while also appeasing the fans of this Pokemon by keeping its identity, give or take its core design concept. I wanted its mouth to be more closed than the original, as well as to make it look more like a crab. Also, those spikes, it's not hair, is actually the ridges that most crabs tend to have at the edges of their shell. I did want Crabominable to keep some aspects of Crabrawler, which is the same old mono-fighting crab boy, those being the general purple colour scheme, the hair, and blue boxing gloves. Well, neither Alolan or Croneo Crabominable have boxing gloves, but they have something blue around the same area. The shinies also carry over the changes that shiny Crabrawler has, purple remaining the same, the hair changing to whatever colour this is.
Good design, I like this. Yeah, whatever colour this is.
Unlike Alolan Crabominable, Croneo Crabominable has one more change in its shiny to make it a good shiny. The brown turns orange, which makes it look more like a crab, and a Scottish caveman. But this is because I felt the shade of
don't
orange
tell
Jay
Progressive or
wanted to have
Geico about
originally,
this Pokemon,
instead of
otherwise
the
they'll make
blue,
a show
which I
about
told
it
him
no
to
one
turn
likes.
blue instead, would have been good to replace the brown in its shiny, due to the observations I previously made about how it looked.
But that's it for this video. How do you feel about the unused type combinations themselves?
I think they were all pretty dang good. I like all the regional variants. They were very well made, and I like them. I like the Patrat line, especially the early evolutions and going down that path.
Of all of the different egg groups that all of these Pokemon will be a part of. Just
Sure.
like I did for the second set of starters this video. It will be important for the region's gimmick, which I do need to explain at some
It will
point,
give a
but
small
I'm not
refresh
going
too,
to.
so that helps
I didn't do
out.
it in the last video because, unless if there is a really interesting exception, pretty much all legendary Pokemon don't have an egg group or are put into the undiscovered egg group, so I just
Well, they're
thought
legendary,
it
so
would have been
duh.
assumed. But if you needed that clarified
Legendaries
for
can't
whatever
mate except in the
reason,
show.
they're all in undiscovered.
Neither can Nido
As for
Queen.
the Pokemon discussed in this video,
Nido Queen a
while
legendary
some
Pokemon?
regional variants in Croneo will have additional egg groups added onto them. For the most part, they're just going to be the same as the old ones, and all the ones in this video will just be the same as their original versions. And since all additions to an evolutionary family always tend to share the same egg group as the rest of them, bar baby Pokemon, that's still going to apply here. But anyways, enough rambling, I'm going to quick fire these. Let's go!
Tatipilla, Crispus, and Jacatera are in the Bug group. Rattata, Raticate,
Actually,
and Ratikin are in Field.
makes sense.
Naruto and Nezuken are in Field and Fairy. Zigzagoon,
Okay.
Linoon, Scrapoon, and
All
Obscure
feel
are in
good.
Field. Wheelass and Bunty are in Grass, as are Janeep and Lanternip. Patrat, Watchog, and Myriad are all in Field. Pupsky and Gracier are in Field and Monster. And Crabrawler and Crabominable are in Water 3.
Now remember to like, comment,
That settles
subscribe, and
that.
share, and ring the notification bell. Check
Again,
out the
Dr.
Croneo Region's
Eevee's channel,
Instagram
link to
account,
channel description
and
below.
I
Go
will
check
see
them
you
out.
next time to cover the remaining unused type combinations. See you guys then. Cheerio!
I must thank Formiga Fakemon for the art for the special.
Yeah,
art
all
and
the
art.
commissioned artists did a fantastic job designing these Pokemon. They did a great job. But I did like the regional variants too, especially how you fix Crabominable to look more, well, less stupid, but just put it that way. I don't even dislike Crabominable. It's fine to have a Pokemon out there that just looks goofy. It just, wrong place, wrong time, and all that stuff. It's just unfortunate. But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. The Patrat line was cool. I like how it is in the early stages too. I'm not going to get into how it goes with the split evolution because I don't want to open that can of worms, but the designs were good and the drawer did a very good job, so say that one for a fact. The Zigzagoon line I liked a lot too. I'm a Hoenn boy, so I also like them to get a bit more screen time. I'm always a bit more iffy about the whole giving regional variants evolutions because it just always feels like, why wasn't this in early... Why wasn't this in earlier games? What makes this region special? I mean, sometimes they can give explanations like, well, this, like in Zigzagoon's case, it was brought over from Galar to Hoenn, so it's like, well, maybe it lost an evolutionary stage in between, but still, it's just weird. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Anyway, yeah, there were cool new designs of this one too. I like the Pikachu line. That was pretty nice too. Seeing how it goes into playing its guitar, or not playing its guitar, using his guitar as a sword and shield, and with the acorn, that was cool too. And the French fry Pokemon was pretty funny too. How it just goes more into the potato aspect and more and more and more and becomes more fries and just... It's just so dumb, it works. See, it's not a problem when Pokemon's dumb. Just be the fun kind of dumb at least. Like, if you're gonna make a dumb design, make it good and fun. At least, that's the least you would do. You know, if you're not gonna be so edgy, serious, be funny. Like, be one of the two at least. As long as you're entertaining, that's what matters. But yeah. All the designs of this one are pretty dang cool, and it's cool that we got to finish up this. Well, we didn't finish the type chart, but get a good mark in the type chart at least. And funny how he gave one to a regional variant that was also the same as his god. So, whoops, or legendary should be saying. The Raticate line was cool too. I do like how it slowly starts dying and dying from its own poisons until it eventually dies and becomes a ghost. But not ghost type, that'd be too far. It's just, well, that's messed up. At least now we know what happened to Gary's Raticate. Or Blue's Raticate, depending on how you want to look at it. I don't care. But, yeah, overall, some awesome designs with some great combinations that haven't been done yet. And, well, okay, some of them haven't been done yet. Others have been done by now. But, again, before Legends Arceus, so that's just the magicery of time. But, overall, awesome designs that I'm glad I checked out. I'm looking forward to see more next time. And until that time, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Check out Dr. Eevee, link to the channel description below. And see all of you in the future. Later.